All right, I think we're live.
All right. Well,
Like,
hit
you
it.
keep taking this stupid mic. Like I keep talking into the mic, forgetting that I have a mic on my chest now. So
Is that the wireless mic?
the mic you got, yeah. So
Hollyland. They kick ass.
yeah. I'm just like, Oh, that's from Rumble. Yes, I'm gonna put yes
All right. So let's hit it. What are we watching here, Nate?
and yes. So for those 20 people who are here watching this with us, I think we're starting out with the Tiffany Henyard story, right? Because we got a great show today. Tiffany Henyard. So for those of you who know, we'll be covering the Tiffany Henyard saga with us. Tiffany Henyard moved up. She was in Dolton, Chicago, fled Dolton and ran to Georgia, and now is running for a position in Georgia for essentially the same position she was in when she was in Chicago, which is a county commissioner seat. So she's running for essentially the legislature.
Well, that was the neighboring town, right? In Dolton, she was the mayor, and then she was like the commissioner of the next county over or something like that. She had like 2 jobs.
She had 2 jobs, but so if I'm equating to Dolton, she was first on the city council for Dolton, then she became the mayor. And in Fulton County, she's going to be the commissioner, which is essentially the legislature, and then she hopes to move up. So, and she talks about it, how the reason why, because she's on Facebook the other day talking about that she's going to run, and she got a big announcement she's going to make Friday, which I'll show some clips of that. But it's crazy. She's going a lot. But first, let's start with the breaking news so people can see what's going on.
All right. Well, in the spirit of it, Nate, to get in the mood, we have St. Patty's Day is coming up.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that this is in the spirit of what we're covering with her. Let the shenanigans begin.
So now I'm going to add, let's ask everybody in the comment section. Do you think Tiffany Henyard is going to win this election? But before we get into that, because you probably know nothing we were talking about, let's go to the videotape. Here's the videotape.
A controversial politician from up north has relocated to Metro Atlanta and now wants to serve on the Fulton County Commission. She's been considered a viral sensation, and Fox 5's Kevin Stewart is taking a look into this. Kevin joins us now live from Union City with a look at the candidate, Tiffany Henyard. Kevin?
Yeah, Tom, by anybody's standard, Henyard would be considered an interesting candidate. Even though she's not from here, she's had enough controversy over the recent years that you may be familiar with her already.
This is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor.
This is the lone GOP candidate for South Fulton County on the Fulton County Commission. That's District 5.
I just wanted to make a video, show you guys what I am up to.
Down to earth, full of energy, and full of drama. Last year, Dolton, Illinois voters, a Chicago suburb,
But baby, they on to you.
voted Henyard out after several years of controversy focused on behavior and spending of taxpayer dollars, including a 2024 FBI corruption probe.
The BMWs, the Range Rovers, you guys are following fiction, a made-up story.
The probe has resulted in no charges.
Now, even though that's true, she hasn't been charged in the probe. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, because they're flipping everybody. They flipped the police chief, that was her enforcer. They flipped her finance guy. So they're working their way up. I think she just hasn't been charged as of yet. But to be fair, there's no criminal charges that I know of right now, to be factually correct, if that makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think the operative word, and maybe you can go into it because at least on a state level, we're looking at federal charges. And I know that when she was in Dolton, my big complaint was nothing was happening, and she was mayor. Meanwhile, they're being bled dry. The community was being bled dry, in my opinion, with her spending and her shenanigans and everything else going on. Now, it's like, take your time. I mean, the damage is done that she did to Dolton County. So there's nowhere near the rush there once was. So maybe you could answer, though, how long does it actually take to do federal charges? Doesn't it take a couple years, 3 years sometimes, to get all the witnesses in line because they hate losing, or what?
Yeah, it's well, the feds usually try to really make sure they have an outstanding case, because the feds win something like 90% of the cases they take to trial. So essentially, if they're charging you, they got you. And I think that's the problem. That's what's going on now, is that they just want to make sure they have her locked down. So sometimes it takes some time to flip the snitches, because the police chief just recently flipped, right? And you're going to need him to make your case with some other things. And then the same thing with on some of these other things. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's weird the way it all works out. But I think they're just essentially waiting for the money guy to flip, which is Keith Freeman. His date to flip was, I think, this week or last week. So
when you say money guy, what do you mean?
So he's the guy who was handling all the finances.
Okay. So
as he was handling all the finances, he knows about the credit card spending, because all of her issues are with the spending, right? She spent money on this, she spent money on this. So he was the guy putting through all those transactions. So so now, but they got him on bankruptcy fraud. He's looking at a felony. So I'm thinking he wants a walk if he's going to give up Henyard. And I think he had some like 4 or 5. He had about 4 or 5 times where he went to the court to do this plea deal, and it didn't work out. So now the last time the judge is like, all right, this is the last one. So we'll see if he pled out. But if he pleads out, then you got the money guy, you got the enforcer, it's like the mob, then the boss, who is Henyard. So, but I think
on that, when you talk about flipping and everything else, I get all of that. But isn't there a certain point where you could have her so dead to rights, I don't give a damn if you flip? We'll give you a little bit of a deal, but you're going down too for a while. I worry in a sense that they let people completely off when there may be enough paper trail and things like that to nail her and him and the others, because I would love to see all of the people who are corrupt wrapped up. So is that worth spending a little bit more time investigating and things like that, so you don't have to make as aggressive a deals?
Well, the problem is that you kind of get the cross thing where she's going to say Keith Freeman was the one doing all this. He's the bad guy. He's going to say she's the bad guy. So that's what they have the fear of her being able to play. The police chief, he's the bad guy. He was doing all this bad stuff.
Sure, but don't they have her on video? Like, oh, he was the bad guy, but isn't that you at Walgreens that's buying gift cards or spending money? But there is so much evidence, like you said.
I get the thing, but the issue here is that if it just takes a little, because they're not worried about statute of limitations, right? They can charge her whenever they want.
Exactly.
So it's not about, let me just get her. Let me make sure I've covered every angle I can before I go on a trial, and then it's a done deal. I don't have to worry. So they're putting in all that work now. So then when eventually, if they charge her, then it's already done, right? That's the same thing they did with her police chief. All the evidence was there, everything was there. He's got to plead out. The same thing they did with this other guy. Here's all the evidence, everything. He's going to have to plead out. And now with Henyard, you just go and you instead of going, like, I hate going into an investigation and leaving those open things, because you just don't know what's on the other side of that, right? And I think it's best if you kind of play all that stuff out now. Then you don't got to worry about trying to play it out in front of a jury, because that's the worst place for you to play it out. You want it to be played out before you get to the jury.
Will this go to jury, or will she ultimately have to cop a deal?
It all depends, because I've seen some go to juries. Maybe she just might be bold enough where she doesn't think, but it really depends on the evidence. If the evidence
she thinks she's Wesley Snipes, and he went to trial.
If the evidence is and it depends on your lawyer too, right? Because I know usually the deal will be, if you go to trial, you're facing 100 years, but if you get a deal, we'll give you a year and a day or something like that. So it all depends on the deal and the consequences. But I think at the end of the day, my prediction, Tiffany Henyard will take a deal if they charge her. And I think, and I honestly don't know why they haven't charged. Why? I know why they haven't charged her, but I don't know any world where she doesn't get charged, because the evidence is just there. We all were witness to all the evidence. I don't know. I don't think there's anybody out there that says that there's no evidence against Tiffany Henyard. It's just whether, the feds think there's enough to make the move. So
So what is her end game here? I mean, okay, let's look what now she's moved to another area, which by the way puts her with another interesting female. Fonnie Willis is
Yeah,
also, I
she's
believe,
with
in
Fonnie
Fulton
Willis.
County. So I guess, hey, corruption 101. There's a good place to travel over and set up a new shop. But we've already got one corrupt figure here. We don't need another. But
That's true.
what's her goal? She's running as a Republican. Is her goal thinking she can get elected and get a pardon? I mean, I don't know. Help me understand.
I don't think I'm assuming she doesn't think she did anything wrong in Dolton. If she did, she'd probably be arrested already. So that's why she moved. And I think let's listen to the rest of the news report because there's a lot in here that I think answers some of these questions.
I'm aware that there was an investigation.
Emory University political scientist Andra Gillespie points out that Henyard lost her seat in February of last year and quickly registered to vote here in Georgia.
She registered to vote here in Georgia on February 27th, would give her the qualifications in order to meet the letter of the law in terms of what the standard is.
So far, the Fulton County GOP isn't talking about Henyard's candidacy. Fulton County Commission District 5, which is the southern part of the county, is overwhelmingly Democratic. So as a Republican, Gillespie says Henyard has an uphill battle. But more than that, she says newcomer status. Her connection is a bigger issue that a Democrat will exploit.
I am known in the community, and this person is a newcomer, yet who hasn't earned the trust to be able to, run credibly for this office.
Can you pause?
All right, now a judge.
Yeah.
You literally brought up exactly what I was going to bring up because, yeah, she is carpetbagging. According, as the Phantom here said. So she is acting like a carpetbagger in a very famous state to do it, Georgia. So coming from the north, coming down there, trying to set up shop. So well played. And they just talked about that.
Well, I think unfortunately for Henyard is that I think she's a little victim of her own success in terms of everyone being able to know who she is and what she's done. And I think this, and again, this is the Georgia station who's saying this stuff. This is not the stuff from Illinois. So I think, unfortunately, Henyard, to me, it seems like obviously she's got these narcissistic tendencies. And I honestly think that she believes that she can just move to some place like Georgia, run for election and win. And I think it's also important to everybody understands kind of the details here. So Henyard is running as a Republican, which we didn't mention. Now, the reason why she's running as a Republican is because they have the primary system in Georgia. So for the county seats, you have the Democratic primary and the Republican primary. And both those, there's a primaries, and whoever wins the primary goes into the general election, just like in every place else. But then you also have some states, they have just like a competitive primary, like in California. So in California, they have an open primary where doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, the top two people in that primary go on. Sure. So in California, there's an issue happening where there's so many Democrats running that 60% of the vote is usually Democrats. There's so many Democrats running that the two Republicans that are running for governor may win the primary and be the only two people on the ballot for governor in California. So that's like a real issue that they're dealing with in California. That, hey, we may be, because there's so many Democrats, we may be locked out.
Yeah, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco are the Republicans in California, and I know it. I know what you're talking about, and you just made me think of something when you said that. I don't know what the policy is with Georgia, and I hope people can let us know. But do you remember people were complaining about Curtis Lewa in New York, especially, and saying, hey, why don't you drop out? Why do you drop out? And the questions came up that he was getting a lot of money from the campaign, like, going on trips and being able to buy different things, blah, 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 blah. Could this be a play like that? Like, as long as she's running, and especially if it's an uncontested primary, then she's officially a Republican candidate. Is there any kind of state matching funds or election funds? Because she seems to be attracted to money. So maybe that's the play. Maybe she knows she can't win, but she will run until the very end of time, charge all kinds of crap to the campaign, and, drag out all the money in those coffers. It's just a thought.
Well, I'm thinking, so what I'm thinking is going on is that I think Henyard so the reason why I think she's running as a Republican is because there are 4 Democrats running,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not going to get that nomination. She's brand new, but there are no Republicans running in that district.
Right.
So she automatically has a ticket to the general election.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be her versus one other person, which I think is good for Henyard. That's good for Henyard because now it's like, she's essentially at the final leg of the race. Now it's whether she can change those Democrats into Republicans. You're talking about county commissioner, right? Most people here have some type of county commissioner, district commissioner, something like that. Do you know who that person is?
No,
Do you know
of
who
course
your state representative is? Do you know who your state assembly person is? Do you know who your congressperson is? Most people don't know who these people are. And most people don't vote for these people, right? So it's kind of like, so you have a situation here.
Or they vote down the line. They see the R. If they vote Republican, normally, then they just go check.
But I think in this particular situation, you have 2 issues that are helpful to Tiffany Henyard. One is going to be her and somebody else under the ballot. She has name recognition. And 2, she has name recognition. People know her name. So you have a voting for county commissioner, you're not going to have a lot of people there, right? You're going to have a low voter turnout. And if she can mobilize enough people to go out and vote, then I think she can win this election. But again, there's a lot that has to happen for this. And I'm assuming the Democrats definitely going to let people know about her history as a Democrat,
Why would they? Let them, let the Republicans burn themselves down. I mean, in a weird way, she picked this little pocket where she can be an amusement. And, why would the Democrats even worry, about her? She's going to be the Republican. That's fine. Wait until you get, sort out your own primaries, and then you bring it all up when it comes to the general election. She's the perfect Republican candidate. She's absolutely not competitive to a Democrat, right?
I think she is, because I think she's a Democrat in sheep's clothing. She's running as a MAGA Republican, but she's a Democrat. And she has.
I wouldn't even go that far. I think she's just a grifter.
Oh yeah, but I think her plan is to go out there and hit, like she did in Dolton. You hit the streets, you shake hands, you kiss babies. You don't need to get a lot of people. You just need to get enough to get over that threshold. And I think in a low turnout situation where people don't even know what the hell they're voting for, there's a possibility she could trick enough people into this. And who knows? And I also find it very fascinating that I think a week after she lost the election in Dolton, she registered to vote in
almost
Georgia.
Seems pre-planned.
Of course, it's pre-planned. She knew what was going. She knew she was going to lose in Dolton, and she moved to Georgia, filed the paperwork, and now she's eligible to run because she's been there for a year. You only have to be there for a year. So
vote in Dolton when she lost, Nate? What percentage did she have? Was it 12%?
12%. Yeah, 12%.
So yeah, when you say lost, that's not quite the word.
She got destroyed. It's funny because for those of you who haven't seen it yet, let me put this on the screen. She actually did this live stream talking about Tiffany Henyard. So she was trying to hide the fact she was going. So now she said Tiffany Henyard, Georgia Peach, and this is her.
She's a peach.
Y'all, how y'all doing? Come on in. Let me finish just getting this all set up. Hey. Come on in. Going out there in TV land in America. How y'all doing? It's your favorite super mayor, Tiffany A. Henyard. Like I said, the people's everything.
The people's everything.
Yes, I am now a Georgia peach. Yes, that's me. How y'all doing, Georgia? All right. Look, I'm trying to get this all situated. How y'all doing? Come in.
And she goes on and talks about how she's doing this with all the haters and all this other stuff. But again, I think this is effective in
change for the community that I now live in. So
this is her talking about what she's going to do.
If you out here in ATL, look me up. DM me. I am looking for a makeup artist here in ATL. You know, because my girl, T.Y., she back at home, but she said she gonna come out here and take care of your girl. But you know, it's natural. But you know, the enhanced is good too. So make sure if you do makeup out here, you reach out. Is this it? I think this is it. I think this is the other one that I wanted to play for you. And then there's a lot of other things I'm gonna do tomorrow. So I'm just trying to wait.
The sound of music.
How's that copyright claim?
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's what she tried to do. But again, so now you know, I understand she's trying to make this the scam, but I don't know. I don't think she's going to be successful. But I've been shocked before. So
I mean, well, look at, you know, who else is there? Again, I said Fonnie Willis, right? I mean, even as the state is pretty much telling her she's, you know, full of it and she's losing everything, she wins by a landslide. So God only knows what's going to happen there. I mean, we need to consult Phil Holloway and say, what's wrong with your people, man? What's wrong with all of you?
Fulton County, yeah, and to go to Fulton County, Georgia, it's just crazy. Well, we'll see. But she is running for Fulton County Commissioner in District 5, the only Republican in the race. South Fulton, it covers South Fulton, so that's her. Let me see.
Will Nate endorse her?
No, I'm not. It works for me because it's great for me because I get more content out of her. But no, I would never do that to people. And you know, and if they do vote her in, they deserve what they get.
Okay, she is a walking Netflix 5-part series. I mean, she's like a Tiger King from politics or something. I'm being serious. This is making its own sauce, is it not?
Yes. I think at the end of the day, Henyard, she is what I like to say. She's one of those people who I think she thinks too highly of herself, but I think she knows she's grifting. She knows, and she's purposely trying to do this. I want to ask you about this though. She's opened a clothing store in College Park, Georgia, in that district.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the money that she got to open that store came from her activities in Dolton? That's the theory on the streets.
I mean, felony fashion, is that the name of the store or what?
I mean, it's THA does something, but some people are theorizing that the money to open up the store and do all these business ventures come from Dolton. Good
question. I mean, remember, she has this ability like a cockroach to keep coming up in different places. That's not the first time she had a quote unquote business. I believe before she was the Dolton mayor, wasn't she running like a cheeseburger place or hamburger place?
Yeah,
and then she went on she went on Shark Tank even.
She did the video to try to go on Shark Tank. Yeah.
Okay. So she has an ability to get people to back her. So she could have grifted the money, but then correct me if I'm wrong, the way she plays it, any money is hers.
Yeah.
So I would more likely see her getting benefactors to dump their money on her and not spending her own money for a clothing store. And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm not as deep into her psychology as you, but I have a feeling that all the money from Dolton probably got spent, or she considers to be her money. You know, she didn't say pay your taxes. She said pay me in her Rihanna video, right? Very mentally there. It's her money. So with the shop, I don't know. I would look into that and see if there was any crazy loans, see if there was any rich people or anything like that who, quote, donated. She obviously is planning for a little bit because, you know, her voter registration, that came down really quickly.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's
almost immediately. Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? Muffin Rando has got a good point here. Clothing store is a great way to launder money, especially if it's used. You know, anytime you have to establish a value, or if it's not used clothing, if it's fashion, because I mean, how much do you pay for a purse if it's a fashion, like a Gucci or something, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
like thousands of dollars for a
Yes.
$20 purse?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point, Muffin Randa, that art, fashion, anything like that that's non-tangible. Yeah, it's a great way
Yeah.
to launder money. Didn't think about that.
Yeah. And but again, I'm not saying she is, and I don't think we neither one of us are saying she is. But
No.
it's just there's the moving expense and this, and you're going from making a $300,000 a year job. County commissioner in Georgia only makes like 65 or $70,000. So it's
Right.
not like it's you're making all this money. So I don't know. I
But-
don't know the end game here, but we're going to watch.
What can the county commissioner do? Because there's money on the front end in terms of her salary, right? But I believe county commissioners handle a regulation and licenses and that kind of position. Let's just say, you could have things like, it would be a shame if something should happen to your business license, or it'd be a shame if you couldn't operate in this town. So maybe you need to donate to my next campaign, or it would be.
But you don't really even need to do that, because when you have the power of the vote, people are going to be throwing you money because that's
Right.
the way it works in Washington, right? Hey, I'll donate $100,000 a year campaign, and when you think about redistricting this place for shops, think about me. Just something like that, because all that would be legal, right? I'm donating to your campaign. It's all up and up. And then she can use those funds for what she uses them for. So.
And she's running a business, and she's in a position, so this may help her. Maybe she's going to have a couture line, and then suddenly it will be available in all the fashion stores in the Fulton County, which is a very large, very prosperous county. A lot of it, depending.
Well,
it's all over the map.
An example for this is what happened with Trump. Now, I'm not saying they did this purposefully, but it's what happened. Like remember back in his first term, he was designing the Trump Hotel in Washington D.C. And this was separate
the post
from
office, right?
Yeah, but this was totally separate from his presidential run. They'd actually planned and started building that before he even thought about running for president. So he ran for president. But after he won, he still has this new hotel here. So everybody who wanted influence with Trump started booking his hotel. So you had Qatar book a whole floor, and you had this, but it wasn't like he was telling them, book at my hotel. It was like, hey, we want to book at your hotel because we want to show that we're friendly to you. And that's I think maybe the Henyard, where you have a store. Hey, we want you to be friendly to us. Why don't you outfit our sports team, or why don't you outfit this thing? That's the way they generally rub it. We're going to buy a lot of your inventory for this. So, everybody's watching each other's back. And I think Henyard would more likely want that to happen. I think with Trump, it just was incidental. He won. And it was like, all right, you know what I mean?
Well, he already had that. I mean, in fairness, whatever you think of Trump, by almost all accounts, whether you think he's a competent investor or not, his biggest value has always been his name, and his name is a brand. And people were investing in that brand all the way back to the Apprentice days, all the way back to the 80s. He has sold the brand for a long time. She's still creating her brand, whatever that's going to be. I mean,
I think her brand is already created. I think the issue that she runs up against.
Yeah,
now,
I said I gave it to you. Felony fashion.
But I think that's the problem. I think and I think she's hoping for low income voters. I think that's what she's hoping. I think she's hoping for low income voters and thinking the same way we've been thinking. What about this? What about this? And those people go and just vote for her because she sings a good song. And Atlanta media is treating her very favorably. Remember, she had that Puff Piece interview where they were like, "Oh, the beautiful, wonderful Tiffany Henyard," that type of thing. So if you're getting favorable, favorable, it just makes sense.
You mentioned that she's running against people who don't have money and all that. Is this a similar case to the 1930s where we had like Bonnie and Clyde and all the gangsters, and people love John Dillinger and Bonnie and Clyde? is she being celebrated because she's sticking it to the man, so to speak? Like she's going in there and getting her own, and there's a cynical part of society that's like, that's pretty funny. Is that her crowd? I mean, I'm curious.
I don't think so, because I think, well, she's going off of what I like to call the Black experience crowd, and that's the
All right.
If you're Black, then we support you. So that's why she's going to a majority.
But it's Fulton, dude. Everybody's Black. That's the weird part.
But what I mean is, by being Black, you overcome the whole. Like if she was white, it would be a different story. But you overcome that, and then it's kind of like, I'm Black, I'm poor, I'm like you, I'm from this. So I think that's her connection. But is that enough to overcome not being a Democrat? I don't think so. And that's why, I don't know if you remember, she did that thing when she was like, Democrats don't do anything for Black people. Why are we voting Democrat? I think she was setting all this up from months ago, you know? And now look, hey, I'm a Republican. But I think she's only a Republican because it essentially lets her skip the primary and goes, now she can start doing the whole general election stuff. And then while the Democrat, they still got to fight each other for the primary. It's a brilliant move strategically just to get on that ballot. But I think the Republican Party of Georgia has a lot to explain to their members, because they're going to be like, why the hell is she running under why are we letting her run if we know this is her history? Because
I think we know why.
Because they just don't care, right? Anybody who gets the seat under the R.
Well, okay. First off, okay, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud, and this will be very controversial. So everybody go ahead and clip it, whatever you're going to do. The Republican Party, conservatives, what have you, are so worried about the charges of racism, etc., levied at them, that they get excited whenever they have a person of color come on board, and they will prop them up and not bother, looking into the past as much, not bother with a lot of things, because they're just so happy to have, oh, good, I have somebody of color that we can say is really one of us. And it is a weakness. That is how you can have, sorry, folks, I'm going to piss everybody off, people like Candace Owens, who can come in there and get all kinds of love. Kanye West, or Ye, or whatever he's called today. Remember, oh my God, he's just the best artist ever. Meanwhile, all the Republicans a few years before were like, this guy's a piece of garbage. He's Obama. I can't stand him. But the second it was like, oh, look at that, he's going to be a Republican now. And I think that there is a blind spot. I think Tiffany Henyard knows that. And also, I think they're probably too lazy to worry about what's going on in Illinois. And it's like, oh, hey, look at that. Oh, there's somebody Black. She speaks Welsh, very friendly, smile, attractive young lady. Oh yeah, let's put her on the ballot. And they're just not paying attention. But I could be wrong.
It's
chat, lay into me.
No, I think there's a lot of truth to that, and I think the only other issue is that I think at a point, I don't think the Republicans down there probably did their research and knew you got somebody. They just ballot for Republican in this district, sure, no problem. We'll have somebody on the ballot. But now going into like, all right, now we may have a little issue here. This may be more than we thought it was. So, well, with that being said, there's another story that
another candidate.
Well, there's another story. Oh, there's another candidate too. You're right.
Exactly.
that we wanted to talk about today. So I'm going to set this thing up, because this is a wild story. And so for you guys out there, this is going to be a little bit more interactive, because we really want to know how you guys feel about this story, and whether you would actually convict this guy. Would you not convict him? Like, you gotta, like, we want to really get your input on this story. So let me share the screen. Here it is. Let me share this screen. All right. So this is Aaron Spencer. Now, he's accused of killing his daughter's alleged abuser.
Not accused. He killed him.
And well, again, it's accused because he doesn't get convicted. But he went to jail.
That's not in question. Nobody's questioning whether he killed another person. He, in fact, did kill another person.
So
correct?
Yes. So let me explain to you guys what happened in this story. So back in spring of 2024, let me make this so I can read it. So I can read it and show you guys. Matter of fact, what I'll do, I'll share this with you guys too. So because we do our research, you guys can see it with the research that we've put into this. Hopefully you guys will appreciate. So spring 2024, Aaron Spencer, his 13-year-old daughter was targeted and groomed, and I'm not going to say that word, but I'll say grape, by a 67-year-old guy. His name is, we're going to call him Michael Fosler. And he was described as the boyfriend of a family friend. So there's a family friend, he's the boyfriend of that person, and he was allegedly targeted this young girl. He went and he got her phone number and started texting her and grooming her. And here are the clips. I have the news clips to explain this. So then in July 2024, this is before this guy was arrested. Spencer, this guy that we see on the screen I showed you before, this guy allegedly asked an acquaintance for the guy's address, 6-7-year-old's address, and told them, don't call anyone, don't call police, because his daughter had explained to him that something had happened. So during the visit, then let me go back to this one. So he visited the guy. So sheriff's deputies visited Spencer's home to investigate the abuse claims. The daughter had made the abuse claims. During the visit, Spencer is recorded on body camera asking if Foster will get 3 to 5 years, stating that he's going to get back out there, isn't he? And the deputy said yes. So he's asking deputies, hey, he just did these crazy things to our daughter. Mm-hmm. He's going to get back out there. He's going to do 3 to 5. He's going to get back out there. Now, the guy was offensively charged for like 60 counts, and he was facing life imprisonment. So he goes and the authorities investigate.
Let's see. So he got charged with a bunch of counts, right?
And
now you're going to tell me that, and let me guess, he was arrested and he was in jail waiting for trial, right?
No, he was released on $50,000 after posting $50,000 bail, and the court had ordered him to have no contact with the minor and no contact with the family. So so you're facing life in prison, $50,000 bond. He gets out, and now he's out on bond.
Let's talk about that for a second, Nate. Okay, $50,000 bond, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I believe you need to come up with $5,000.
Yeah.
So $5,000 is realistic, right? Because let me see. If you have a laundry list of charges, and essentially he's what you said, 67 years old.
67 years old.
So it was a life sentence. Okay. Mm-hmm. If he's convicted, he's done. He will die in prison.
Yes,
no
he's going to die
question whatsoever.
Yes.
I'm already where you see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the very first problem is, how is this individual out on any kind of bail like that? These are not lightweight charges. This is not like a DUI and you yanked his license. This guy is doing the worst of the worst crimes, and he's out on bail. What would his incentive be at this point when he's got a limited amount of time before the trial and he potentially gets locked up forever? What would be that guy's possible mindset? I'm just curious.
Well, let me do this. Let me just so everybody sees that we're not making this up. This is actually the report showing where people are like, what's going on?
Michael Fosler was out and about that night, and another girl. Somehow Michael Fosler was out and about that night because he was free on a mere $50,000 bond that he had no trouble posting, and it seems he had no trouble violating a no contact order either.
So we're all on the same page with that, and I think your point is astute. $50,000, that's ridiculous for somebody who's facing life in prison, right? That doesn't make any sense. So you
can't take it with you. If you have money, you can't take it with you. You sell all your stuff and get the hell out. I mean,
so now we're all on the same page. Hopefully everybody in the chat's on the same page about what's going on, the facts, the previous facts. So now we get to the twist, right? So now October 8th, 2024, Spencer and his wife wake up in the middle of the night to their dog barking. Mm-hmm. They discover their 14-year-old daughter is missing. and they found, and then when they go to her bed, they find a stuffed animal wearing a hoodie placed in her bed. So now this is, remember, the guy's out, and they go in there like, where'd she go? So they see that this thing. So the father, Spencer, who I'll put up on the screen again so we can see him, he dials 911, obviously. Spencer dials 911 because he's like, where's my daughter at? And he says that his daughter's missing. She's only 13, 14. And the police start searching, and then he begins searching too. He jumps in his truck and starts searching, which any dad would do. I would do that. I'd be like, she, where'd she go? I'm looking up. So they look and they start searching, and Spencer, the father, sees the truck and sees the guy. So they see the guy, and in the passenger seat in front of the truck, he sees his daughter. So it's the guy in the driver's seat, his daughter's in the passenger seat, and he sees the guy driving. The guy, after seeing the father, he peels off. He's running. So Spencer, the father, starts chasing him, and then eventually rams the truck, and gets it off the road, disabling the truck.
Hold on. Nate, I didn't want to do this to you. This is a cruel thing to do to the audience, but we have to do something called a cliffhanger, because we're very fortunate that this video is actually sponsored. And I think we should share that information with everybody right now, because we have a wonderful sponsor with Rumble Wallet. So everybody check this out, and we'll see you on the other side.
Here's a quick message from our sponsor, Rumble Wallet. You may have seen the conversations happening online lately. Censorship is back, and it's happening everywhere. Platforms are controlling narratives and pushing the stuff they want you to see. Now, Rumble is one of those companies that has stood the test of time and deserves our support. Now, on one side, Rumble is the company that's challenging big tech censorship. But on the other side, they've introduced something that will give us the protection from the big banks shutting us off. So that's why they launched Rumble Wallet. This is a wallet that no one can cancel, a wallet that supporters can use to instantly tip creators like myself without a middleman trying to take a cut. Now, with Rumble Wallet, you control your money. Not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch it. It's yours, only yours to protect your future and family. Now, you can buy and save digital assets like Bitcoin or Tether Gold all in one place. Tether Gold, for instance, is real gold on a blockchain with ownership of physical gold bars. It's not only a wallet to buy and save, but it also allows you to support your favorite creators by easily tipping them with a click of a button. Now, there are no fees when you tip my channel or others, and we receive the tips instantly, unlike other platforms where you have to wait for a payout. Now, you can support my show or others by clicking the tip button on my Rumble channel. It's wallet.rumble.com. Now, you can download Rumble Wallet today, open an account, and step away from the big banks for good. That's wallet.rumble.com, or search for Rumble Wallet in the app stores. This is a paid advertisement. Cryptocurrency and tokenized assets like Tether Gold are volatile and not FDIC insured. Invest responsibly and consult your financial professional if needed.
All right, where were we? We are at a cliffhanger. There was some sort of a wreck. Wait, okay, back up. What happened? What's happening?
So the father sees the daughter in the car with the person who allegedly blanked her. So now you're the father. This guy's facing a life sentence. He has the victim in the car with him, and the father's just run him off the road because, he was out. He called the police and was out, find him. So where does that leave us? Now, he gets out the car, and a physical altercation occurs. The physical altercation is essentially him getting out the car, running up to the car and shooting the guy in the front seat. That's essentially what it was. There was the altercation. You got my daughter in the car. Bang, bang, bang. Now, the question is, was it self-defense or was it murder? So the DA says it's murder, second-degree murder. The DA says there was no imminent threat to the shooter or even his daughter. The person was in the car. If the person was going to harm the daughter, he would have harmed her before that. He's driving away, trying to get away from him. And during the confrontation, the person was trigger happy and ran and just shot the guy, right? The guy could have been arrested. The car was disabled. Then the other side, the defendant's saying that this was obviously self-defense, but it wasn't self-defense for only himself. It was self-defense for his daughter in the car, because his daughter was in the car with someone facing a life sentence who she had just said had blanked her, and he had a restraining order saying he couldn't even come near them, but yet he's essentially kidnapped the daughter. So on one end, the prosecutor saying murder. On the other end, the defense is saying self-defense. Now, for the audience, we'll ask you guys. Matter of fact, we'll put up a poll. I think a poll would be best. Can you put up a poll, Eric?
I can do that.
And the poll will be, if you're a juror, would there be enough? Because again, the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not just, I think she's bad. Would you be able to convict this man, Mr. Spencer, with these facts? Would you be able to convict this father for shooting that man in the car with his 13, 14-year-old daughter, knowing what happened? Would you be able to convict him beyond a reasonable doubt?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have three choices because they give people an opportunity. I get yelled at. So I've got yes, no, and I don't know. So those are your options for everybody. And you asked some questions there, Nate. And I'm kind of thinking that this might be one of those where multiple things are true at once.
Yes.
And I mean, did you want to play a video clip on that, or what do you want to talk about?
I'll play a video clip of exactly what happened. Hold on, I'll play the clip so people can see while they're voting what the news reports are saying about it. Let me play this clip for everybody.
Daughter missing.
Hey, my daughter, I can't find her. She's not in her room. So an answer calls a missing juvenile Tuesday morning about 1 o'clock in the morning. As we're arriving on scene, we get the second 911 call of a shooting.
While deputies were on their way, Spencer informed them that he found his daughter in a truck with Fossler. This led to a dispute between the two men, ultimately with Spencer fatally shooting Fossler.
And it was just down the road. Deputies arrived, investigators arrived. Mr. Spencer was detained because that was a homicide.
The sheriff says the investigation is still ongoing and is in the hands of the prosecutor.
My investigators have family, they have children. I'm a daddy. In a situation similar to this, I can't tell you I wouldn't act the same way. But now we are the fact finders. We don't file the charges. We supply the information so the prosecutor can make a determination whether it was justified or not.
So now, just so we're all on the same page,
is that the sheriff talking there?
This is one of the authorities down there. Yes, this is the sheriff, the former sheriff.
Oh,
well, the sheriff now, spoiling. But who's just lost.
You're spoiling. Yeah.
So at this point in time, I just want to ask everybody. Now you're voting. That's the facts. Now the sheriff's saying he don't know if he would have done the same in that situation. Mm-hmm. This is a bad witness to put on the stand, right? Because he's saying that. So if you're the defense attorney, sheriff, when you said this, did you mean it? Yes, I meant it. You know what I'm saying? So
this is a jury nullification trial.
You think so?
Well, here's the problem I have is I think there's so many circumstances in this that are true. Like, one, do I think he meant to kill him? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that you see a definitive premeditation. He even made the threats. You played that head time, right? He said, okay, this guy's only going to get 3 to 5 years. Nothing's going to happen, blah, 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 right? So he laid out a particular mindset and framework initially. Is that it? Would you think it's fair?
No.
He had a perspective?
I don't think that's fair, because being mad at someone who's raping, who's alleged of raping this person, right? Well, no, I'm just saying from what I'm hearing, right? Being mad at that person is okay, and those statements that you're talking about happened like right after, is he going to get 3 to 5 years, that type of thing. But then the guy's arrested.
Right, well, that's why I haven't continued, dude. There's a lot more to my going.
Yeah, it's like I think that pause between the action kind of defeats the premeditation part of it.
Well, I don't know that it does, because here's where I'm going with this. Okay, he made some statements. He said, "Oh, this guy's only gonna get this, blah 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 blah," right? So then the guy gets arrested. So now you know what? It's off the table.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what Aaron Spencer thinks at this point because the guy is arrested. But the authorities, well, they let him down. They let this guy out on a BS bail, in my opinion. And I think at this point, they kind of proved him right that nothing was going to happen to this guy, right? I mean, look, he just got arrested for, you said it was a ton of charges, right? It wasn't just
60.
one little charge. It was like a slew. It was like throwing the whole book at him. And he's out and walking around. So now the father, who already had this particular mindset that I was putting in, he just got proven correct with his statement, right? That lends into the premeditation, in my opinion, because he's saying, I let you do it. You arrested him. You aren't doing the damn job. And so then, okay, now to go further, now all of a sudden, his daughter is missing, and his daughter is with the guy. His daughter is with the guy, even though there was a protective order, and the guy could not be near the daughter. So again, that was the authorities. They put out a bullshit protective order in the father's mind, and the guy's still with the daughter. So failure, right? Would you agree that the authorities have not kept his daughter safe? Society has not protected the man's child.
Yes.
Well,
all the way through.
At what point, what decision does he have to make to guarantee that his daughter will not be harmed from that individual who literally has his daughter at the time? What is the one way he can make sure that his daughter's absolutely safe? I'm not trying to justify it, but
killing the guy.
So that's what I'm saying. I think everything is kind of true at once, if that makes sense.
It does. But I think where the premeditation fails for me is the fact that he was at home chilling with his wife and what he thought was his daughter at home. And then he goes upstairs and she's missing.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point in time, you're not, because he didn't go out there to kill the guy, because that's what premeditation would be. I'm going there to kill this guy. Mm-hmm. I think the argument he's going to make is, I was just looking for my daughter and happened to find her in a car with this guy. And I think at that point, you can make, if there's any premeditation, it would have been in that moment.
Which,
because
by the way, you have that moment. How is
premeditation can happen in a second. But I think as a juror, I wouldn't believe that argument. I would take that. I'd be like, he's in the car, protective order with my daughter. Mm-hmm. The question I would ask, would a reasonable person believe that child next to that guy who's been arrested for doing all this with all these felony charges, is she in any imminent danger? Mm-hmm. And I would say, for my personal being a father, yes, I believe she's in imminent danger. But now we're talking about proportionality. Does the fact that because I think everybody would agree, she's in danger. She's essentially kidnapped. She's a kidnap victim. So her being kidnapped in that spot with that person, does that now justify the use of deadly physical force to obtain your child? Mm-hmm. And I think
that's where the jury nullification comes in.
That's where the jury, and I think if you disagree with that in the chat, you know what? I'll say this. If you agree that the daughter was in imminent danger because she was in that car, place a 1 in the chat. Just a 1. If you do not think that 13 or 14-year-old was in imminent danger being in a car with this blankist, put a 2 in the chat. And I think that's the question that the jury is going to have to figure out, because the jury, somebody asked earlier, the jury is supposed to determine the facts. They're the judge of the facts. Mm-hmm. But in self-defense, if I see my child who's 14 in the car with a guy who's in this situation, I would say she's in imminent danger, and I'm going to use the force necessary to get out of the situation. Now, that may be deadly physical force, but I think you're already there. Would you agree with that, or would you say no?
No, I think that this is the quandary, and that's why I laid up the whole thing of all of these steps on the way were the state, and I'm just going to say the state, society, whatever you want. They had one job. They failed at the job.
Yes.
And I think that that's an extenuating circumstance that changes the parameters.
Yeah.
Because we've been through it before. And his daughter in this heated moment is literally with this guy. And by the way, he doesn't know what happened. She may have already been assaulted for all he knows. There's a million things that are possible. And I think that's where the jury nullification comes in, because you're asking the one question, is it imminent danger? But there's also a very real second underlying question of, if you were the daughter, would you hope your dad did it for you? If it was your kid, would you do it? Because that is a factor. And there is a jury nullification case out there. I forgot the individual's name, but his son was assaulted by an individual, and he was being escorted at the airport. This is all on film. They actually
shot him.
They videoed it. He was being escorted by the U.S. Marshals back to face trial. They were walking through the airport by a phone booth. A man was in the phone booth, turned around, shot the individual to death in front of everybody. I mean, in front of everybody. It's on camera, everything else. And that ultimately he didn't serve a day of time. And this is a similar type of a situation, in that jury nullification aspect of it. But you may be able to slide it under with the self-defense, or in defense of other aspect of the self-defense.
I think this is less jury nullification, because I think as a factual matter, because the jury is the judge of the facts, the judge is the judge of the law, the jury is the judge of the facts. As a factual matter, everyone typed 1. As a matter of fact, we have this retired Leo who says, yes, imminent danger exists. And that's the first step in self-defense.
Sure.
Now you're asking, was he being reasonable? Because he doesn't have to do the perfect thing. He has to do what's reasonable. I'm armed. My daughter's in imminent danger, and she's sitting next to the blankist, who has a restraining order, who's being charged with life in prison, all that stuff. Would a reasonable person think at that moment that force or deadly physical force would be necessary to obtain his daughter back, who is essentially in the middle of a kidnapping? I think as a factual matter, because jury nullification is just, even no matter what the facts, I'm going to go against that. But I think in this case, it's not jury nullification. I think a jury could come to the reasonable conclusion that she's in imminent danger and that he was justified in using deadly physical force to get his daughter out of that imminent danger.
So why did they charge him?
Because they're saying that the daughter was not in imminent danger, and they're saying that the person was not a threat of physical harm.
How do they know that?
The daughter. But that's their conclusion. That's the prosecutors, based on how they evaluated the evidence. Because the guy wasn't armed. Like what they're saying, the guy wasn't armed. He was in a car. He's talking to his daughter. Like this. In other words, they said he was run off the road. The car was disabled. So they're saying that this wasn't. Everything else is true, except they're saying the force that the person used to obtain his daughter was excessive. It was too much.
And by the way, Denver Dean, that's exactly, I wanted to go to that because that was something I was wondering about earlier too. If a cop had shot and killed him, I think it probably would have been seen as clean.
Oh yeah, of course it's a clean shoot. It's you got a kidnap victim right next to that he's on trial now for essentially assaulting.
So, but that should be a factor. Like that is a very reasonable question, and that goes back to what I was saying about they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And when I say they, by the way, the same assholes who want to charge him now are the same ones that allowed the guy get out on bail. So I would argue they are responsible for the guy dying. If the guy was sitting in the jail right now, waiting for his trial, unless something happened in that jail, he would still be alive, right?
Yeah.
This family would not be disrupted. This family could be going on trying to heal whatever she went through, whatever trauma she's been through. Because if he did, did all this, allegedly, whatever, that girl's going through trauma. There's problems in that family. He's got a lot he has to deal with. The mother has a lot to deal with. They've got to definitely recover from that situation. And the guy would be alive, waiting for his trial date, or might have already been tried for all we know and pled out. Who knows? But I would argue that the same people who are charging him now are the same system that is charging the father, who was protecting his child by all accounts, are guilty of killing the guy who's dead. Just my opinion.
Wow. Well, here, let me do this. Let's read the super chat. Sorry. When do we start talking about holding judges accountable?
I agree.
Well, yeah. Oh yeah. But the thing is that you hold them accountable because these are state judges. You hold them accountable to voting booth.
I know, but you need to do that, people. I mean, when you say that, when do we start? Well, did you vote for the judge? Do you vote for them? Are they on the ballot? Do you ever look at who the judges are when you vote? Because I think we are guilty. And by the way, I don't know who judges are. And I'm a weird one, and I don't know what everybody else's pattern is. But if I look at a ballot, there's multiple names, and I don't know who they are, I don't vote. I literally will not vote. Like if it says county supervisor or school board, and I see two names, I'm not going to vote for either of them because I don't know. I think it's irresponsible to vote for somebody, and I'm not going to do it by party. I'm not going to do it by anything. If I don't know who they are and I don't have an idea of the record, I'm not going to vote for them. I think
which makes sense.
Responsible.
And that's you don't want to be a low information voter. But what I'll do is so we have a news clip here that we want to play, so you guys can be up on what's happening after. So we've led you up to the point of the shooting. So now here's what happens after the shooting, because there's a huge twist to this. This is not over. So we just got first half of the story. Here's the second half of the story. So get ready for the twist, people. Let me pull this up so we can twist it away.
About me. It's about every parent. About me. It's about every parent, every neighbor, every family.
It's the campaign kickoff for an Arkansas sheriff's race everyone is talking about. His name is Aaron Spencer, and he's running to be the top lawman of Lonoke County, all while currently fighting murder charges, announcing his campaign in a Facebook post.
Through my own fight for justice, I have seen firsthand the failures in law enforcement.
Spencer is facing second-degree murder charges for the killing of a man he says raped his daughter. According to court documents, on a night last October, Spencer awoke to his dog barking and found his 13-year-old daughter missing, a hoodie on a stuffed animal placed in her bed, and found her in the truck of 67-year-old Michael Fossler. After forcing Fossler's vehicle off the road, a confrontation, ending with Spencer shooting and killing Fossler, according to the court documents.
Before we get more into this,
I was going to say, I don't know if this is a soundbite, but what have I been saying? The authorities were not doing their job, and he wound up having to do their job for them.
Yeah.
Well, now he's making it official.
Now he's like, I'm actually going to go do the job. This that's a good point. Imminent danger of being kidnapped. No, she was already kidnapped.
Yes.
That's the problem. She wasn't in imminent danger. She was already kidnapped. And now you're saying, is that kidnapped victim with her kidnapper? Would you consider that person is kidnapped already? It's being kidnapped, but is in the custody of her kidnapper. Is that person in imminent danger? So
it was a clean, pure kidnap, no question.
Yeah,
because there was quite literally a court order that he could not be near her. So the fact that she was in the vehicle with him, he was violating to the moon. There was no question whatsoever. It's absolutely a kidnapping. There's no wiggle room. Am I correct?
Yes. This is absolutely. It's a minor. It's you couldn't think about this. This is like finding Samantha Guthrie's mom in a car and somebody's driving around the car. She's a kidnap victim. We all know she's a kidnap victim, right? So it's kind of like,
but even worse because it was specifically, you cannot be near this kid. And
and not only is she near her, you've taken her away. So yeah, so he actually stopped a kidnapping in progress, and that kidnapping in progress happened to be his own daughters being kidnapped.
And according to court records, Fossler was out on bond after being charged with multiple sex offenses involving a child.
Good
In
Lord.
lifting a gag order on Spencer's proceedings, a judge writing Fossler's alleged offenses were acts against Spencer's teenage daughter. Spencer not responding to our request for an interview, but his attorney telling NBC News in a statement he was, quote, justified under Arkansas law in taking action to protect his daughter and himself.
I'm the father who acted to protect his daughter when the system failed.
After his video post went viral, with many commenters praising Spencer, his wife launched multiple fundraisers that have since been removed. The campaign's Facebook page with 15,000 followers now links to a new fundraising page. Spencer posting, support from this community has been beyond anything I imagined. The primary is set for March. Candidate filings begin next month. Spencer will likely face off against current Lonoke County Sheriff John Staley, whose department arrested him. NBC News reached out to Staley's office for comment, but did not hear back. The sheriff telling one local paper he couldn't comment on Spencer's case because of the pending trial, but that he'll run again, saying, since 2013, I have served as sheriff with a clear mission to protect our citizens and hold those who break the law accountable. NBC News also reached out to the county prosecutor's office, but have not heard back. A man charged with taking the law into his own hands, now trying to turn the tables and take hold of the office that enforces the law.
So, now you guys heard he's running for sheriff. But now, what happened after he ran? Well, he kind of won. He won. And he looks like, because obviously it's a heavy Republican county, so he, is like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna run for sheriff. And the other sheriff, though, the previous sheriff, remember, has been there for how many years was he there for? He was
since 2013. He's still the sheriff for a minute.
Yeah. So here's what happened after. Here's what's going on now.
I did what any good father would do, to save and protect their child.
That's Aaron Spencer. He just won the Republican primary in the sheriff's race for Lonoke County, Arkansas. He is also set to go on trial for second-degree murder. While he's pleaded not guilty, Spencer admits to killing 67-year-old Michael Fossler, his teenage daughter's alleged sexual abuser. We caught up with Spencer in Arkansas a few weeks ago, and while his lawyer doesn't want him commenting on his case, he did talk about why he wanted to be the top law enforcement officer.
I never thought that I'd run for office in any aspect. Honestly, I think I was like a lot of other people where we didn't fully pay attention to what was happening in our local communities, the ramification and impact that these types of elections have. It's not only just standing up for my neighbors, I'm standing up for my family as well.
And he won. He won. So now he's now obviously, since he's a Republican, he's essentially won the primary.
He's going to be sheriff.
Yeah, he's going to be sheriff. But the problem is that if he's elected sheriff, but he's convicted of the felony, he loses the seat. But if he's not convicted, he still becomes sheriff. So this is the quandary here.
Well, when's he go to trial? I mean, he delayed that sucker, so then he could be
like another 2-3 weeks or something like that. So
okay. Well, I was gonna say, if they could come up with any kind of means to delay it, you could have a sitting sheriff on trial.
Jury selection is March 19th.
Okay, well, so 1 week from today, we you know what, we have to follow up on this story. We're gonna have to definitely keep following. No, for sure. But I want to point some things out. Let's say he is exonerated, and he's elected. What kind of an interesting working relationship are we going to have with the prosecutor? Because remember, there's a partnership now between the prosecutor and the sheriff. So you literally have a prosecutor that tried to prosecute the guy who's now in office, who is going to be doing the investigations for said prosecutor.
Yeah.
This is going to be some very awkward lunches, if you will, in this area. And it's a small town. Good luck to everybody. This is going to be an interesting thing. This seems like a plot to a TV series, quite literally. It's right in this.
It's great. Well, what did the poll say? What did our poll say?
Oh, it wound up being like 87% no, he won't be convicted. But But
So
by the
now-
way, I think that the election's already showing that it's going to be a difficult problem with the jury. Again, is he going to be tried in the town? Don't tell me that that you can find impartial jurors there. You would definitely need a change of venue. I think in this kind of case, if the prosecutor had a 2 brain cells, he would be saying change of venue immediately because he's not going to win this shit. Not the vote putting him in winning the primary to me is a smoke signal saying, nah, I don't think he's going to go. I don't think he's going to be convicted. Again, not everybody has to watch the news to know about it. It's a small town. They're talking about this shit. I guarantee that everybody in that town probably knows what went down, and a lot of the opinions, I think, are solidified.
Well, you know what? With that being said, I'm going to throw it to everyone in the chat right now. You are the juror, right? Because you got the facts. You're the juror now. So we like numbers here. So 1, guilty. He's guilty of murder and is going to jail, and that's a life sentence in Arkansas. Or 2, you are voting he's not guilty, and you're going to send him on his way and send him back to his family. Let's see what you say in the chat. Now, for me personally, based on what I've heard,
as a father of a daughter,
yes, there's no way in hell I'm convicting this guy. It's a 2 all the way for me. He will be free. I'm saying not guilty at jury selection. He's not guilty, not from everything, unless you can prove to me that this guy was somehow just laid out on the floor. This guy did shot him from above or something. Like, he's got to be crazy. But right now, I'm a strong not guilty. I'm not even close to 50-50. I don't think this is 50-50. To me, it's just like it's obvious.
Well, as a prosecutor, would you have charged him?
I couldn't charge him because I wouldn't believe I can get a conviction. The fact that he shot him gives you probable cause, but I don't think I can get it. There's no way. And we're in Arkansas, so there's no way. In New York, maybe you can make some type of argument in some liberal cities, but we're in Arkansas, gun-loving southern state. No, it's impossible.
Well, now this person in the chat's responding to somebody else, but it's kind of in line with what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
It gets so much worse. The judge had done all kinds of crap trying to make sure that he lost his campaign. She even required 6 armed deputies be on hand every time he appeared. So remember, we've got a real combustible situation here, Nate, and that's what I'm talking about. You've got a prosecutor right now who is facing the next sheriff in court. So what are the stakes here for the judge? What are the stakes here for the prosecutor? Do you expect a good, fair trial? If I was him, I would be wondering if it should be a change of venue. I think, fortunately, the public is on his side, as the primary showed, but he's very much at risk here for the theme of the day, shenanigans.
Yeah, he's at risk, but I think this is I think if you're prosecuting, they're prosecuting them because of the ethics of it all. I think they like this. The prosecutor's office really feels like this was not a justified shoot. But I think sometimes overcharging becomes an issue. I think you could maybe get, like somebody said earlier, voluntary manslaughter, the heat of passion, right? You did it in the heat of passion. You didn't mean to do it. I think you could charge him with that because that now would make more sense. Okay, he was upset. He was angry. He wasn't thinking correctly. This may have been an accident. Second degree murder, it's essentially saying, this was intentional in some way, and which I don't think you could sell. Or I may even sell a reckless manslaughter or something where he overreacted and shot the guy, but it was more reckless than intentional. So you get maybe a 5 to 10 year sentence versus a life in prison. So I think the charging mistake really is going to determine the case here. But because I think anybody with a kid, I just don't think I don't think you can get it beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to be very clear. If it's 50-50, maybe. Beyond a reasonable doubt, I think they got no chance. But
I stand by my statement that a lot of what they're doing is out of guilt because they killed the guy. They are responsible. That judge who let that bail occur, which is a bullshit bail. I mean, I'm sorry. You've got a situation, and I'll say it again. You got to come up with 10% in order to get a $50,000 bail. Are you freaking kidding me? The guy's 67 years old, potentially had all kinds of savings or property or something to generate that. But knowing that the second he's convicted, he's going away forever, he would sell. I mean, he could potentially sell anything. I mean, he's the ultimate flight risk. Because
as a matter of fact, you killed the girl and you killed the case, right?
There you go. Yes, you've got that. So there's so much wrong here. And I feel that the overcharge, I think all of this could potentially be because they fucked up and they are trying to cover up for their own failures in that. And his winning that primary is just rubbing it in their face even further. And it's going to be interesting. Eddie Nixon here. I agree with this. People want to blame the judges and officials, but fail to blame the voters or the way they vote and who they vote for. Look how elderly people in California is working. Democrat prison reform at work. I do agree. I do agree. But I was just trying to be honest in the sense of I don't know who the judges are, and I would hope that the community, because somebody has to go and point out and say, look at what this son of a bitch is doing. Look at what this DA is doing. Look at what this judge is doing. Because how the hell do we know that? Do we sit there and hang out at the courthouse all day and go, oh, this judge did this or did that without some sort of responsible reportage or something going on? It's hard for me to blame Joe Citizen for not knowing which way to vote. And as somebody else pointed out earlier, a lot of judges will, of course, they're running, unopposed.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, who do you vote for? Well, there's me. I don't vote, but it doesn't really matter because then they vote for themselves. They're elected. So it is a problem. And I think that visibility is very, very important.
Well, with all of that being said, you are now the judge of the facts. Let us know in the comment section how you feel. Tell us where we're wrong, because we've been wrong before. But as you see, Eric, I think is not guilty as of right now. Am I misquoting you here? Are you not guilty? Because it sounds like you're saying you're not guilty.
Yeah, I think that, through either self-defense or nullification. I don't think he should serve.
Yeah,
outside of being sheriff. He can serve as sheriff.
Yeah.
So I think it should be sentenced to sheriff for 4 years.
Yeah, I'm still not guilty. But again, we got some people saying one in the comments. There were a couple of people saying one. I saw you. So let us know why. Because it's not about the conclusion, but how we got there. So for Eric, my name is Nate. We'll see you next week, Thursday. Same bat time, same back channel. And tomorrow we talk about, tomorrow we got a great show because we're talking about all these what's the trial? The Corey Richardson trial, right?
The wife who potentially poisoned her husband and then wrote a book about missing the guy.
Yeah, the OJ.
And dealing with loss.
OJ.
It's easier to deal with loss if you caused it. No, anyway, I don't know. That's not what she wrote. That's just me throwing it out there. But also, before we go, please consider checking out the sponsor, Rumble Wallet. There's a link below in the description. It really does, it helps out a lot. And I'm extremely thankful. And I know Nate's thankful. We talk about controversial stuff. It could be a little bit touchy, and it's important to have, sponsors who are going to back up the show and show support and protect some of your money too, potentially. If you're into doing some crypto, you got to have a place to put it. It's an option.
And just remember, this is not financial advice. Speak to your financial advisor. And with cryptocurrency particularly, it can go down. You can lose money. You can lose principal. So be very, very cautious on how you invest. Speak to your own financial advisor. We definitely love the sponsor, but we got to have the disclaimer that you need to be responsible for how you invest your money. And even with Rumble Wallet, that also applies.
No, anybody.
Yes.
Any of it.
So with that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Oh, the stream will not end. We're trapped on the stream.